How many times a day have you reached for your water? What if I told you to spill it instead? Seriously, spilling your water can be a game changer for a business meeting or a social gathering gone bad. It's a trick I learned from one of my early mentors. She was known for being a little bit clumsy. She was the executive director of a nonprofit and I was on her board. And another member of the board had this habit of interrupting and pontificating. And I noticed that when he really got going, she would spill her water or knock her files off the table. So one day I asked her, what's going on? She confided she was doing it on purpose, but it wasn't about him. It was about her. Moving around to clean things up gave her an opportunity to deal with what she called an attack of lost perspective. You see, she would sit in those meetings and start to tune out and start judging herself. And she would start to think that she wasn't as good enough or as experienced enough, and the board members were going to start to realize that maybe she was a fraud. So she shook things up and gave herself an opportunity to remind herself that those thoughts weren't truthful ones, or, as I later learned, unusual ones. According to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, 70% of the people in the US occasionally have these bouts of lost perspective. There are things you can do about it. One of them is to move around and interrupt those thoughts. Another one is to stop thinking about your abilities and start putting more focus on your purpose, remembering your unique vision and values and why you're doing what you're doing. So the next time you start tuning out and judging yourself, reach for your water. You don't have to spill it if you don't want to, but you can take a moment to stop the negative self-comparison and instead drink in your own brilliance.
My name is Amanda Gordon, and I just watched Mari give her speech, and I think when she spoke about imposter syndrome, she hit the nail right on the head, and her giving some tips and tidbits on how to deal with that when you're sitting in the middle of it was just great. I'll be able to use that moving forward.
Hi, my name is Dennis Foley, and I'm a solution engineer at Salesforce. I just finished watching Mari's talk on imposter syndrome, and I really felt how when I'm up sailing and talking to people that I can doubt my abilities, and doing so is going to affect my ability to do my job. And so by changing that cycle of getting a drink of water or doing something that distracts me and puts me back in focus, I think is something that I can definitely use with my job on a day-to-day basis. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Pam Foley, and I own Art of You Branding and Strategy. And I just heard Mari speak, and learning about the imposter syndrome really made me think. And one thing that I took away when I heard Mari speak was that it's so important to break that cycle. What I was so impressed with was how excited she was to tell us about the imposter syndrome and remind us that everyone deals with it.